Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on the life divine with our beloved Ranga. We are now in chapter 6, Reality and the Cosmic Illusion.
So, we will read the quotations that he has given at the beginning of each chapter. By the way, it's interesting to note that no other book of Sri Aurobindo has he done this. In Life Divine, he has given quotations from the scriptures, and he has given many, and then he discusses, because those quotations are relevant to the subject that he is discussing. In no other book has he done this.
But he's done footnotes.
Yeah, footnotes are there.
Yeah.
But
like this, he's not done
yeah,
it. Yeah,
not there. So, I read each of these quotations. The eternal is true. The world is a lie. This is from Viveka Chudamani, and Viveka Chudamani is the master work of Shankaracharya. And the Sanskrit goes, it's all in Sanskrit. The Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Okay? But this Brahma Satyam and Jagan Mithya has been misinterpreted by many people because they see that the world is a lie in this sense that it doesn't exist. But that's not what Shankara meant. Shankara meant that it is less of a reality than the supreme reality. He makes a difference between the supreme reality and the practical reality in time and space. There's a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
The reality in the physical world is a reality in time and space, and it's a reality of forms which are transient.
Seemingly illusory?
Yes, seemingly illusory because they are now here and they again disappear after some time. And the disappearance can be in time, so it can be very short, like a bubble, or it can be like a butterfly in 1 week, it will disappear. Or it can be like a human being who disappears in maybe 100 years, or a cat in 20 years. But everything is transitory. The Himalayas also are transitory, maybe after 1 million years. But nothing in the physical world is permanent. That is what he meant. Because he does accept the reality of the physical world. He accepts the Upanishadic statements that everything here is the Brahman. Sarvam khalu idam Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So how can he deny the reality of the physical world? So he makes a difference between the supreme permanent reality and the relative practical reality in time and space. That is his philosophy. But he has been misinterpreted by this very one sentence. So Sri makes a point of that. I read the next one. The master of Maya creates this world by his Maya, and within it is confined another. One should know his Maya as nature and the master of Maya as the great Lord of all. This is from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, and Maya can be interpreted in 3 ways. First is, Maya is the power of the divine to create forms. This is the real meaning of Maya at the highest level. And a human being will realize this meaning of Maya when he stations himself at that supreme level. But if he stations himself at the middle level, then he will see Maya as a maker of illusions. And if he puts himself here in the physical world, then he sees the reality. And he sees the forms which are there, and he takes them that Maya is the power of the divine to create transient forms. So Maya is of these 3 things. Okay, so it has to be like the other realities. Maya also is a power which can be seen in different ways at different levels.
But isn't Maya generally misunderstood?
Yes.
People say Maya, well, it's all illusion. And
Yeah, that's only one meaning.
that's only one meaning.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's not all the meaning.
Yes.
Okay, so I read the third one. The Purusha is all this that is, what has been and what is yet to be. He is the master of immortality, and he is whatever grows by food. Okay. Now, Purusha is a technical term in our Indian philosophy which corresponds to the consciousness. But there again, you have various levels of consciousness. So therefore, Purusha at this level is one, Purusha at the second level is another, and Purusha at the third level is another again. So Purusha is basically consciousness, Chit Shakti. So at the lower level, it is transient and subject to the transitoriness of the world. It's your soul. The soul is a Purusha at this level. The Gita calls it the Kshara Purusha, that which is in movement, that which is evolving. Then you go to the second level, which is the Akshara Purusha, the witness self, where there is no movement in the Purusha itself. So it's a witness self. So that is Purusha. Normally you understand Purusha in that way. And you go to the third level, that's the Uttama Purusha, the highest Purusha. This, the gradations given in the Gita, Sri Aurobindo accepts fully. Okay, so that's a Purusha. But Purusha is all, everything. Even here there is consciousness.
And Ishvara?
Ishvara is the third level where Purusha and Ishvara become one. He becomes master. At the lowest level, Purusha is not master. Your psychic being is not the master. In fact, body, mind, life is master of psychic being.
Yes.
Then at the second level, there is a separation between the body, mind, life and the Purusha, and it realizes that it is doing nothing at all. It's just watching. But there is no power to change the lower. You go to the third level, which is the master of everything. Ishvara is the master. Purusha Uttama, Uttama Purusha. Purusha Uttama. Okay? And then the fourth quotation from the Gita.
You said Purushottama.
Yeah.
Synonymous?
Pardon?
Synonymous with Ishvara?
Yeah, yes, that's right. Purushottama is the word used in the Gita, but Sri Aurobindo uses the word Ishvara. He also uses other words, and there are small differences. Paramatman, okay, Parabrahman, okay. Then also there are 2-3 other words also which all refer to that. We must also remember that the spiritual realities are not something rigid, like a staircase. They are more like a ramp. They run into each other. Okay? Even at a lower level, you can get glimpses of the higher. So this you must keep in mind. Otherwise, there is confusion. But for clarity of thinking, it's better to think of very clear divisions. For clarity of thinking. Okay. The last one is from the Gita. All is the divine being. In the Gita it goes, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahman. Sarvam, everything is indeed the Brahman. So, the reality and the cosmic illusion. So, this is the chapter. In other words, before we start the paragraph, the chapter, you must remember that like everything else, there is a gradation from the highest to the lowest. The highest is the reality, and as you keep coming down, this reality becomes more and more relative, until finally the reality in the physical world is transitory and it has to be seen in time and space. As you keep climbing in consciousness, you see the reality, the real reality if you want, as you keep going up. And the absolute real reality is only at the highest level, which is Satchidananda. So that's what Sri Aurobindo is going to discuss here. Okay? And the cosmic illusion. So, I read the first paragraph. Yeah. But so far, we have only cleared a part of the foreground of the field of enquiry. In the background, the problem remains unsolved and entire. I'll read the whole paragraph, we'll come back to it. It is the problem of the nature of the original consciousness or power that has created or conceptively constructed or manifested the universe, and the relation to it of our world cognition. In sum, whether the universe is a figment of consciousness imposed on our mind by a supreme force of illusion, or a true formation of being experienced by us with a still ignorant but an increasing knowledge. And the true question is not of mind alone, or of a cosmic dream, or a cosmic hallucination born of mind, but of the nature of the reality, the validity of the creative action that takes place in it or is imposed upon it, the presence or absence of a real content in its or our consciousness, and its or our regard on the universe. On behalf of illusionism, it can be answered to the position put forward by us with regard to the truth of existence, that all this might be valid within the bounds of the cosmic illusion. It is the system, the pragmatic machinery by which Maya works and maintains herself in the ignorance. But the truths, possibilities, actualities of the cosmic system are true and actual only within the illusion. Outside that magic circle, they have no validity. They are not abiding or eternal realities. All are temporary figures, the works of knowledge no less than the works of ignorance. It can be conceded that knowledge is a useful instrument of the illusion of Maya for escaping from herself, for destroying herself in the mind. Spiritual knowledge is indispensable, but the one true truth, the only abiding reality, beyond all duality of knowledge and ignorance, is the eternal, relationless absolute, or the self, the eternal, pure existence. All here turns on the mind's conception and the mental being's experience of reality. For, according to the mind's experience or conception of reality, will be its interpretation of data, otherwise identical, the facts of the cosmos, individual experience, the realization of the supreme transcendence. All mental cognition depends on three elements: the percipient, the perception, and the thing perceived or percept. All or any of these three can be affirmed or denied reality. The question then is, which of these, if any, are real, and to what extent or in what manner? If all three are rejected as instruments of a cosmic illusion, the farther and consequent question arises: is there then a reality outside them? And if so, what is the relation between the reality and the illusion? So, this chapter is one of the most difficult chapters in Life Divine. Because he has told us here, we'll go through each one, we'll go through all the sentences, but basically it boils down to this. There are layers of consciousness or existence or whatever you want, there are layers and layers going upwards into a subtler and subtler form, and the other is the coming down, the substance or the consciousness or whatever it is becomes gross and grossest here. Okay? So, one thing you must remember, the more subtle a thing, the more real it is and the more concrete. The more gross a thing is, the less real it is and less concrete also in that sense. That's very funny, that which is gross is less concrete than the subtle. But that's a reality. And we don't experience that, because when we go there, then we experience that. That the subtler is more real and more concrete than the gross. So it's a funny thing.
Yes.
Now he is saying that there is, on the one hand, the objective reality. Then we are individuals and we are placing ourselves at the different levels. And whichever level we are placing ourselves on, our cognition will be the cognition of that level which is there. In other words, If I am in India, I am subject to the laws of India. If I am in the US, I am subject to the laws of the US. So if I am at level 1, I am subject to the laws and the cognitive faculties, the instruments which are available at level 1, which are our senses. If I go to level 2, I am in that consciousness where I am not using my senses anymore. I am using my subtle senses. When I go to the third level, the instrument of knowledge becomes identity, not even subtle senses. I become what I want to know. In other words, the instrumentation also is changing, your perception also changes, and the reality that you are seeing also changes.
Would that be at the level of the intuition or the overmind?
Intuition is quite high up. It's in the second level. It's quite high up. But still it's not the ultimate reality. Okay. So, now he is telling you very clearly, and that's why I'll tell you what the combination, why it is difficult. All process of knowledge has 3 elements in it. There is the object of knowledge. There is a subject who is trying to understand that object. And there is the process of knowledge itself. So in other words, you have a percipient. I am the percipient. There is a percept. And that which joins us is the perception. So knowledge is object of knowledge, the knower and the known, and the process of connecting the two is knowledge. Now, the question arises, he has told us earlier, Srila started with the assumption that everything is Brahman. There is a relative reality, and the higher you go, there is also a reality. Everything is Brahman. Okay? But Mayavada is saying it is not. And your spiritual experience also at the second level is telling you that the world is unreal. So how to account for this? So Srila is answering that depending at which level you are, we'll examine all of them and see whether Mayavada has any validity. Whether it is really true that everything is false and there is only one ultimate reality on top. Is that the fact, or is it that everything is real? Let's examine. And so to examine, we have to see what the knower is, what the object of knowledge is, and what is knowledge. So now he starts. Let us say that the perception is real. Then, if the perception is real, is the knower seeing the perception? It depends on the knowledge. It depends on the instrument. Is the instrument real or unreal? You see how complicated it is.
Yes.
So the first assumption is the perception is real. The percept is real. Now I have to examine whether the perceiver is also real, but the perception is unreal. So what are the possibilities? He will examine. Then he will say, we start from the other thing. The perception is real. And all are real. Then what is the conclusion we come to? Then after that we say, okay, the percept is unreal. Now we examine the other two. So which one is real and which one is not real? The combinations are huge. That's why it's one of the most difficult chapters, because you have to remember what he said in page 10. Now he is going back to what he is saying. After all the arguments, he goes back. And he does not number his paragraphs. So you have to remember what he has said earlier and make a note of that. So that's why it is so difficult. You follow the number of combinations of these three is huge.
But he answers all of them.
Yes.
In this chapter.
Yes. No, he answers at the end. Okay. So he goes on examining all the possibilities and then attributing the reality of each philosophy and saying it is real at this level, it is real at this level, it is real at this level. But I want the total reality. I don't want a midway path. I want a total reality. That's his whole. The life divine is all that. What is reality and what is our perception of reality? In philosophy, you have two things. There is ontology and there is epistemology. Ontology is the nature of the reality, and epistemology is the nature of knowledge. that how are you seeing the reality? So these are the two things, and he is discussing that here in detail. Okay? Again, to summarize and not confuse everybody, in Sri Aurobindo's view, everything is real. But in the physical world, the reality is transient. But behind that transient, there is a permanent reality, which we don't see. At the highest level, there is no transiency, there is permanent reality. So this is his philosophy.
So what is behind at this level is the divine presence.
Yes, that's right. And that is real. But unfortunately, because we are using instrumentation which is inadequate, we are not seeing that. But if we have instrumentation which is adequate, we will be able to see that presence even here. Again, the instrumentation is very important. If you want to see atoms, you have to use an electronic microscope. If you want to see the largest stars in the universe at another level, you have to use a telescope. You can't use your naked eyes or your microscope. So at which level you are, there is an instrumentation which is proportional to that level. Okay? So that is the whole point. And we are in ignorance here, and the instrumentation we are using is our senses. And they are very defective. So that's the whole point. So this is what he is going to explain here in this paragraph. Okay? So. Now, Swami is saying, but so far, we have only cleared a part of the foreground of the field of enquiry. What's he inquiring? He is inquiring what is reality. He is also inquiring what is our knowledge. Okay, so in the background, the problem remains unsolved and entire. It is a problem of the nature of the original consciousness or power that has created or conceptually constructed or manifested the universe, and the relation to it of our world cognition. Okay? It's a huge sentence, okay? But I will go phrase by phrase, because that's how you have to see Sri Aurobindo. Okay? So, he's saying, it is a problem of the nature of the original consciousness. What is the nature of the original consciousness? Okay? Or power. Now he's saying consciousness or power. At our level, we see consciousness and power as two different things. But at the highest level, they are one. At the lowest level, they are two different things. Consciousness is not power. Power is different. Energy. And consciousness, I am conscious, but the power is there in the running of a river, it's there in the lightning, it's there in the wind blowing. There is power. So, it is a problem of the nature of the original consciousness or power that has created or conceptively constructed or manifested the universe. Now, three things he is saying, and it can be seen in three different ways. The consciousness has created the world, and since it's original, it is real. The other is, the consciousness is conceptively constructed. It's there in the mind of the consciousness. Okay? Or manifested the universe. So, three different ways of looking at the thing. Remember, what it means by constructed, conceptively constructed, let me explain that a little bit. At my level, I am seeing the reality, and I think that that's very natural. But you are forgetting that you are seeing that through your senses. So what the senses are seeing, you are thinking that is natural and that's only reality, but it is not. Your senses may be defective. Your eyes may be defective, you are not seeing the reality. So there's another way of looking at it. The physical world I am seeing through my senses. Then there are nerves which take the senses to the data to the brain, and the brain is interpreting what I am seeing. If my senses are not there, the world doesn't exist for me. So my senses are creating the world. That's conceptive creation. Or if the nerves are damaged, okay, then also the world won't exist for me. If my ear is functioning properly, but if the auditory nerve which is going to the brain is defective, I will not hear. If the visual, the optical nerve going from the eye to the brain is damaged, I will not see. And if the brain is silent and saying, I won't work, which is a silent mind, again you will see things in a different way. So it's your mind, your nerves and your senses that are creating the world. Conceptive creation. It doesn't exist objectively. So this is what is meant by conceptively creating or manifesting. Manifesting is something real manifested from there. Okay, so he is giving all the three possibilities. Has created, number one, conceptively constructed, number two, or manifested the universe, and our relation to it of our world cognition. At our level, world cognition, the world is there and I am understanding the world through my senses. So that's a world cognition. In sum, whether the universe is a figment of consciousness, so that is conceptive construction, okay, imposed on our mind by a supreme force of illusion, or a true formation of being experienced by us with a still ignorant but an increasing knowledge.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay? So, you understand what he's saying? We have to examine two possibilities. The first is whether the universe is a figment of consciousness imposed on our mind by the universe, by supreme force of illusion. So, Maya is creating forms and imposing them on you. And you are thinking that this is the reality. Is that because that's a Mayavada theory. That's a Buddhistic theory also.
Yes.
Okay? The world is nothing but a series of images put on your mind and you are identifying with them, yourself with the mind. In the Mayavada, in the Vedantic philosophy, the image given is reflections in a mirror. You are the mirror and the reflections are coming in the mirror and you are identifying with the reflections in the mirror. But a better example today in modern times will be the cinema screen.
Yes.
And the image is being put on the screen. Now you are the screen. And the images that are coming on the screen, you are thinking that this is the world and you are identifying with it and saying this is real. Shut off the images, you are at level 2 and you see the world is unreal. There is no images. Images are all fleeting images. So that's what he means by this. Okay, so if the universe is a figment of consciousness imposed on our mind by a supreme force of illusion, or is it a true formation of being experienced by us, but we are experiencing it with a ignorant mind? In other words, the world is true, but my instruments of knowledge are defective. And the instruments of knowledge can go on improving. From ignorance, I will be going to knowledge, increasing knowledge.
Increasing knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is, the last one is Srimdu's theory. That the world is real, but you are in ignorance and you are slowly evolving and going up and seeing the reality more and more, more and more, more and more. Okay? So even this much, you can see how much there is to be understood properly.
Tremendous.
Okay? So, and the true question is not of mind alone, or of a cosmic dream, or a cosmic hallucination born of mind, but of the nature of the reality. I told you that. There is a epistemology is the nature of understanding, nature of knowledge. And is the reality also, what is the nature of reality? That's ontology, that's the whole thing. What is reality ultimately? Okay, so the validity of the creative action that takes place in it or is imposed upon it, the presence or absence of a real content in its or our consciousness and its or our regard on the universe. So there is our understanding and its reality. So this is what is going on saying. And then now he is discussing the illusionism which says that the physical world is unreal. But we have stated that the physical world is not unreal, it is real. So that's the put forward by us. So the illusion will answer in this way. Now that's what he's saying. On behalf of illusionism, it can be answered to the position put forward by us. Who is the us? Sri Aurobindo.
Sri Aurobindo.
And the integral view. Okay.
Yes.
So what is the integral view of Sri Aurobindo's? That everything is reality. But there is a gradation. Now, illusionism will answer in this way to me. Okay. With regard to the truth of existence, that all this might be valid within the bounds of the cosmic illusion. But it is the system, the pragmatic machinery by which Maya works and maintains herself in the ignorance. But the truths, possibilities, actualities of the cosmic system are true and actual only within the illusion. Outside that magic circle, they have no validity. So, the illusionist will answer, what you are saying is real, that the physical world is real here, but that is true only at this level. You change the level and go to another level, you will see that your original understanding of things in the physical world is not real. That's what they will answer.
And this is the illusionist saying this.
Yes.
Ah.
And he is valid in his own, because as I said, that at each level of consciousness, there is a reality, more real or less real, which is valid for that level. Okay? To make this understand, to make us understand this, Sri Aurobindo gives an interesting example. He says that when I am at the sensory level, I am using my senses, it is true that the sun is rising and going up. Okay? So that's absolutely valid for me. But when I start looking at it from the mental point of view and not the senses, what do I see? I see that that's not true at all. The sun is not moving at all. It's a earth that is moving around, and you have an illusion of this. So then it becomes valid for me at that level. Okay. Then I go to the spiritual level, again that changes. So that's why he's pointing out which one is the reality. He's taking the question and discussing in that way. Okay, so the illusionist will answer you, what you are saying about reality here is correct. At this level only. But you go to the next level, it's not true.
And the illusionist can go to the next level?
The illusionist is going to the next level and telling you that this is illusion.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so pragmatic machine which works and maintains itself in the ignorance, but the truths, possibilities, actualities of the cosmic system are true and actual only within the illusion. Outside that magic circle, they have no validity. It's a magic circle. The nature of Maya is such. Okay? So, they are not abiding in eternal realities. They are temporary figures. The works of knowledge no less than the works of ignorance. It can be conceded that knowledge is a useful, it is, the illusionist is still arguing, okay? It can be considered by the illusionist. It can be considered that knowledge is a useful instrument of the illusion of Maya for escaping from herself. So the knowledge that you have is useful, but it's useful only for escaping from this unreality. Okay, so it can be considered that knowledge is a useful instrument of the illusion of Maya for escaping from herself, for destroying herself in the mind. Okay, spiritual knowledge is indispensable, but the one truth, one true truth, not the relative truth, the only abiding reality beyond all duality of knowledge and ignorance is the eternal relationless absolute or the self, the pure, eternal, pure existence. This is the argument of the Mayavadi, the one who is an illusionist. He is telling you that here it is true that everything is real, but you go there, you see that it is not the reality, and that is the only reality, the self. But he is still not talking of the level higher than that. Srimda is now mentioning that there is something even higher than that. Okay? So, in other words, okay, all here turns on the mind's conception and the mental being's experience of reality. For, according to the mind's experience or conception of reality, will be the interpretation of data, otherwise identical. Nothing is changed there. Only you are placing yourself here and seeing things in a different way. But the objective universe from the highest to the lowest is always the same. There is no change. But you are placing yourself here and seeing things in a different way. It might also be mentioned that this is exactly what also Einstein says only at the physical level. Depending on your position in space and time, you are seeing things in a relative way. That's the theory of relativity. It's a huge discovery, but only at the physical level. He got an intuition for that. So what he's saying is absolutely real.
But only here.
Yeah. Okay, so all here turns on the mind's conception and the mental being's experience of reality. For, according to the mind's experience or conception of reality, will be the interpretation of data, otherwise identical, the facts of the cosmos, individual experience, the realization of the supreme transcendence. All now simply summing up the whole thing. Okay? All mental cognition, not spiritual cognition. Mental cognition uses the senses. All mental cognition depends on three elements: the percipient, who is watching, the perception, the process of watching, and the percept, that which is watched. So, the knower, the known, and or rather to be known, the knower, to be known, and the knowledge that links them. So, we'll have to start examining these three things, each one by suppositions. Beginning with, let us suppose that that is real or unreal, two places. Then, if it is real, is Maya, is the knowledge real or is the percipient real? So, this combination becomes a huge thing. So, this is what he is discussing. We stop here for today.
Thank you, Ranga.
Okay.